I'm from that one block where all the dope fiends at. I took his bop, now the nigga can't get his dope fiend back. Nigga just shot with me, I promise your clientele gon' shoot up.
And it gets even worse when you go into summer. I'm in the middle of it. It's happening in front of my apartment, it's happening behind my apartment. You can take a look at the side of my car. There's 440 cals in the side of my car. You step out my door, you can see bullet holes in the building.
Business as usual.
What's up, grinding gang? It's Hollywood Street Savage, aka Mr. Tote Plastic, and I'm back at y'all with another video. Before we get into the video though, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, and stream Hollywood Street Savage music on all platforms. Today we're going to be speaking on the notorious North Hill Farms housing complex on the north side of Pontiac, Michigan. Being that I'm from this city and specific side of town myself, I can say that I'm very familiar with these apartments and I've had a few experiences in the farms as a teen. During those times, the farms housed mostly senior citizens who got SSI checks every month. Some of those older residents were dope fiends. Their drug of choice was crack, good straight drop, and they would spend their whole checks with the dope boys or the dope man. Fast forward to 2024, the farms has completely transformed into a more younger demographic that seems to have taken over and riddled the housing complex with bullets and violence. North Hill Farms was established in 1988. It boasts online about being a safe, subsidized, government-funded, and beautiful community located in Pontiac, Michigan. But crime reports and janky management complaints over the years tell a different story.
Without heat tonight, and they're fuming.
They say they're trying to escape the cold, but instead, they're freezing inside their own homes.
Several viewers have reached out to us about a particular property. Now 7 Action News reporter Andrea Isom is taking action.
None of that works.
I get but
I want them to come fix the situation.
Shirley, Aisha, and Fred are neighbors living in close quarters in this Pontiac public housing condominium complex. But this trio has much more in common than merely living in North Hill Farms.
My heat don't work. My heat don't work.
it get cold like we outside cold.
I boil water and I use space heaters to keep us warm.
I'm warming up with my oven.
This is dangerous. This is unacceptable. You shouldn't have to use this to heat your home.
I know.
Period. Well, perhaps this is the problem. Take a good long look at the boiler, my friends. It says it needs service.
When I have a 3-month-old baby.
My daughters have sickle cell, so if they get sick, then I have to rush them to the hospital because it's so cold, and their bones start aching and they start getting sick.
Gosh. Guess I can deal with it.
But you shouldn't have to deal with it.
Yeah. You're right.
So we went to the leasing office. Now, we're told the doors are usually open during business hours, but it seems somebody must have gotten notice that we were nosing around trying to get answers about this no heat nonsense that some residents say has been going on for about a month. And sadly, we experienced more of the same nonsense. I see people in there, so can you guys open the door? Clearly there's people in there laughing when this is no laughing matter. Why does everybody think this is so funny? Nothing about this is funny. Zero things about this are funny. Unbelievable. So I go to the back. Trying to do the right thing here. As should they. Next, I call the real estate agency associated with the property called American Community Developers. There are several tenants that do not have heat. I told them I have an hour deadline. They say they'll get on it right away, so we wait. And in record time, I received a reply from the spokesperson for the ownership. I'm told the company is going to investigate to see if there are any heat calls they were not aware of and to make sure the management company is following the appropriate procedures. They do not want anyone in a situation where there is no heat. If the issue cannot be resolved promptly, residents will be relocated. And guess who's going to make sure that happens? We are.
A little explanation is needed. 2 o'clock in the morning on December 20th at the North Hill Farms apartment complex in Pontiac. An Oakland County sheriff chasing a suspect, but the cop car crashes into Mary's apartment.
Several cops were chasing this.
All right, and then they crashed.
Yes,
right?
One of them crashed right here.
A lot of noticeable damage to the outside of Mary's apartment, but that's not all. This is where the car hit here?
Yes, the one that they were chasing, yes.
And you can still see the skid marks, and then car smashed right into this, right?
Yes.
Now, the management company removed the person living in this unit and fixed the outside of Mary's unit, but not the inside.
It gets cold, and I have 2 kids that sleep in here, a baby and a 6-year-old, and I can't have neither one of them in here.
Mary, who is on disability, has 4 kids living in this subsidized apartment. She says she contacted the management at North Hill Farms. Are they going to fix the inside?
They're telling me there's no damage inside my unit.
No damage?
No damage inside my unit.
You think there's damage?
Yeah, there's damage.
So I tried the manager. But can we talk to you about this woman Mary Daly, do you know about her? The car hit her building? Is that okay? Would you talk after lunch? We have to come back at 2? She's at lunch. Calls to the manager after lunch were not answered, and no response from the sheriff's office, but the apartment manager has the responsibility to the tenant.
The whole middle brick supporting in the back is what the cop took out. The whole support beam.
And it's cold.
It is.
Do you think you should be moved?
I'm not sure if it's a move or at least just come and fix it.
First at 6, a question of no pets allowed. Good evening. I'm Dave Llewellyn.
And I'm Anu Prakash in for Carolyn Clifford. People who've lived in an apartment complex for years are flabbergasted by sudden orders to get rid of their pets.
7 Action News reporter Kimberly Craig is getting to the bottom of it tonight in Pontiac.
We first came here to North Hill Farms leasing office to find out more about this pet policy that has pet owners in a panic. But all afternoon, the office has been closed.
When you moved in, did they say you couldn't have a dog?
No, they didn't.
We have paperwork. We have paperwork that says we can have animals.
Yeah.
But a few days ago, this is the notice that everyone who lives in the North Hill Farms apartments in Pontiac received. It's from the new property manager for Legacy LLC, and it states that North Hill Farms has a no pet policy, and effective immediately, no dogs or any other animals are allowed on the property. If you have a pet, you must remove the pet from your home immediately.
It's not fair at all. I don't know what they're doing up there, but no, it's not fair at all because some people, they don't have nothing but their dog.
I've had my cat for 10 years, and they want to ban them? I don't think so.
And other pet owners who did not want to appear on camera say the same thing. It's unclear if a backlash on social media made the difference, but after multiple calls to Legacy Management, their attorney called us back to say that the notice was poorly written. Jim Gromer says that anyone who has a pet on their lease does not have to move or lose their pet, even when their lease is up for renewal. As for pets that are not registered with management, he says they'll take that up on a case-by-case basis. And he adds that doctor-approved service animals, including emotional support animals, are in no way affected. The attorney went on to say the notice was meant to address dogs running loose.
My cat's on the leash. My cat's on the leash, if they would look at it.
And that attorney for the management company says tomorrow they will be rewriting that letter to residents. A deadly quadruple shooting in Pontiac has investigators searching for answers and residents fed up with the violence. 1 man died and 3 others were injured just after midnight on Fireside Lane. 7 Action News reporter Darren Cunningham is in Pontiac with what neighbors are saying.
Neighbors say the shooting happened right here at this apartment, Unit 28. I'm told one of the victims was making his way out of the apartment while returning fire, but sadly collapsed and died right over there.
Ain't nothing new over here. These people shoot all the time, whoever they is. But it's got to stop.
Joanne Johnson, whose grandkids visit her regularly, says the most recent shooting was far too close for comfort, happening shortly after midnight in this unit across the parking lot.
And I was under the bed.
You were under the bed?
On the floor.
That's no way to live.
No, it's not.
Johnson says she's called the North Hill Farms apartment complex in Pontiac her home for 13 years. Well, the Oakland County Sheriff's Office says 4 people were shot here. One of them, who a friend identifies as 22-year-old Kamari, died trying to outrun the gunfire.
He died right there in front of my yard. As a mother, as a grandmother, all kind of stuff went through my head because this young child done died. You can't talk to these kids no more. And the way he died out there, died in front of in my yard, that give me something to think about my grandkids. Thank God they wasn't out there.
Sheriff Mike Bouchard says 2 weapons were recovered.
We have some reason to believe that some of these folks were friends, but also very clearly have been told that there was some arguing that precipitated the gunfire.
He says investigators are working to determine what the dispute was about.
That's still a work in progress. How many weapons were fired? Was it a gun battle? It appears that way, but we need more information.
It makes me cry the way these kids is nowadays.
The sheriff says the other 3 victims, a 23, 27, and 31-year-old, all men, all from Pontiac, are expected to survive. 1
man is dead and 2 others injured after an early morning shooting.
The Oakland County Sheriff's Office is now trying to find out what led up to the deadly argument and who pulled the trigger. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for 7 Action News at 5. I'm Glenda Lewis. Deputies were called to the North Hill Farms apartments in Pontiac after midnight. This is not the first time we've covered a tragic shooting at this complex. 7 Action News reporter Darren Cunningham was there in June after 4 people were shot, and he's back again today as neighbors grapple with another shooting less than a year later.
Residents here at North Hill Farms Apartments in Pontiac say violence is all too common. In fact, our camera has been here before. This tragedy is eerily similar.
I don't know, he was everything to me.
Naira Munson shared with 7 Action News what kind of man her boyfriend Rayjon Barnes was. She says he was like a father to her daughter. Sadly, someone gunned down the 24-year-old during an argument this morning. A triple shooting, according to the Oakland County Sheriff's Office.
He was just a kind person, kind. He cared a lot. He cared about everybody.
He had just left my house.
Joanne Johnson came over and spoke to me, saying she had just fixed Barnes a plate of food and that he had been looking after a rehab patient who lives in another unit. But around 12:30 this morning, she says she heard arguing and saw him running.
I said, oh my God, somebody done shot him. I said, not just that quick, and I just spared him.
Another deadly shooting at North Hill Farms, similar to a quadruple shooting last June.
Last year, the boy got killed under my tree, died under my tree, and the mailman was here. You was there. You and another old man.
I interviewed you.
Yeah, you interviewed me.
I thought this place looked familiar when I came up here.
Yes.
Johnson recalls my interview with her on June 20th of last year. I sat down with her after the shooting death of a 22-year-old who also died during an argument.
Same thing going on again.
And what's the solution to
I
all
would like
this?
to see them stop all this violence and get these people out of here. Get some cameras out here. Get a security guard. The ones they do have, they just sit here and look at stuff happen, let it happen.
As our camera rolled, another resident stopped to express the same frustrations.
People die every day in here. We need to save North Hill Farms. Every day somebody die or get shot in here. Every day.
So many other people living there are telling us they're frustrated. So 7 Action News reporter Darren Cunningham went back to raise their voice to those in power.
They know that people here are low income, right? And they treat people here like they're nothing, like you're not important because you ended up here. I didn't end up here by choice.
Tyra Hewitt says she's deeply concerned about the violence at North Hill Farms Apartments. A 24-year-old man was shot to death Wednesday and 2 other people were injured. The Oakland County Sheriff's Office says another shooting happened this past Sunday. We discovered Hewitt and her legal battle with the complex during a visit to the Oakland County Courthouse.
If you're not participating in the chaos, or if you're trying to beautify it by making your yard look better, or, just staying out the way, then you're the problem. The people that smoke, drink, hang out all day, create chaos, paying $25 a rent, they get to live freely.
She mentions low rent because it's Section 8 housing and the federal government subsidizes the rest. To try and get answers, I called the leasing office Wednesday, left a message for the manager but did not hear back. So I stopped into the office today, left my phone number again, and requested a number for the management company. I called but haven't heard back. I also reached out to the Oakland County Sheriff's Office to see how many calls for service they received here recently. To escalate the issue and get action, I took residents' concerns to Pontiac Mayor Tim Greimel.
There have been a lot of very serious incidents at this particular housing complex over a number of years, and based on those incidents, we had a conversation with the property management company and the owner last year. They did agree, as part of the next round of renovations at that complex, to install security cameras at the complex. When this shooting happened on Tuesday, we immediately reached out to them yesterday to ask what the timeline is to get those security cameras installed.
Greimel says the city scheduled a meeting for tomorrow to have that conversation, and he says he'll involve HUD if necessary.
And it gets even worse when you go into summer. but it is very common.
Stacy Gilo and Joe Butler Jr. are two people who have lived in the North Hill Farms apartment complex for over a decade. Both are fed up with shootings that happen on the regular. The latest left a 24-year-old dead and two other men in their 20s injured.
I'm in the middle of it. It's happening in front of my apartment. It's happening behind my apartment. You can take a look at the side of my car. There's 440 cals in the side of my car. You step out my door, you can see bullet holes in the buildings.
It's kind of disheartening that you got to go through this every other week or every other day, night, holidays, or whatever.
Surveillance video caught sound of the gunfire erupting around 12:26 this morning. The cause of the dispute that ultimately turned out to be deadly unknown at this time, but this is nothing new for either resident who have in a way become desensitized to all the shootings taking place.
Business as usual. You know, long as I wasn't involved in it, I just stay out of the way.
2 homicides have been reported in the complex in 2023, and just 3 days ago on April the 7th, another person was injured after being shot.
It's just the most sad thing. A lot of these guys are young. I feel bad for our security. How would you like to work security someplace like that where, you know, you're supposed to observe, but you're risking your life?
Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard says they've taken a closer look at the homicides in Pontiac.
It's very targeted. It's not the average person in Pontiac that is being targeted just coming and going to work or school or a business. It's very specific, a bad drug deal or somebody that has animosity. So those are harder to get in front of because they're personal.
He says 8 out of 10 of Pontiac's homicides in 2022 were solved and hopes that's a deterrent for the second half of the year.
We're going to catch you if you do it, and we're going to hold you accountable. It doesn't bring our victims back, but it does send a message.
This year, a new task force was created that leaders from Pontiac Universal Crime and the sheriff are part of. Churches and businesses are also involved.
As the numbers are rising, the awareness is rising.
So as you can see, Grinding Gang, this housing complex is far from the safe and beautiful community that it boasts online about being. It has a 1-star rating on Yelp and tons of negative reviews. My North Hill Farms Google searches were littered with bad reviews from tenants and locals, a few petitions to shut down the complex, and I even found North Hill Farms memes, a lot of which were kind of funny and pretty accurate. But anyway, y'all, so could this be the worst and most dangerous housing complex in Pontiac, Michigan? Let me know y'all thoughts and opinions on this in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Till next time, I'm out. Hollywood Street.